In today's video, I'm going to be talking about Svadhyaya. This is one of the key components in Kriya Yoga, as well as one of the Niyamas. Svadhyaya can be translated as the study of the self. Sva means self or ego, and adi means to go over or to compare to. Svadhyaya can also have to do with just maintaining a general curiosity about yourself. Um, and it can also refer to recitation of Vedic scriptures. So like chanting or using mantra, um, specifically maybe the pranava, the chanting of Om. Study of the self is so important because it keeps us curious and it keeps the mind focused on the task at hand. So really discovering the self and exploring and, just studying what our patterns are, what we are doing. And this really, if you watch my video on tapas, which I'll put at the top here, it puts like that into perspective. Like, why are we trying to give ourselves these different challenges so that we can move through them? It's so that we can study how we react to every particular situation. When we change something, how are we reacting to that? And then when we're sitting in our meditation, we can kind of study that within ourselves, just see if something could have been done differently. Maybe we could see something maybe could have been done better. Um, Typically, the most disturbing thoughts when we're in a meditation are things that we've done wrong or that we're like, oh, I could have done that better or something like this. And then when we're in meditation, we can go back over that. We can literally replay it in our mind. And then instead of replaying what happened, just kind of replay it and be like, okay, so that's what I did. And then change how that went. And when you change that, then you can be like, okay, so next time I can do better because I have studied that within myself. I know if I do it that way, maybe will be the outcome. So you can kind of start to shift that in your mindset. And then as you go forward, next time you come into a similar situation, you'll have had that practice internally and you can really bring yourself out and be like, okay, this is how I am different now. Um, this is how I've grown. This constant curiosity is so important because it's so easy to just lose track when you're trying to practice yoga or when you're trying to really develop yourself. It might be easier to just kind of go basically unconscious, right? Just let your subconscious patterning just take the reign and just go and do what perhaps you've been doing for most of your life and just kind of let that happen and not really deeply discover yourself. It can be so easy to just forget like this whole spiritual path. And if you're not, if you don't have a proper like amount of curiosity about that, then you might just lose track of it and just forget. Svadhyaya is a part of the first verse in the second pada of the Yoga Sutras. This is the pada on our sadhana, our daily practice. And this is a definite part of a definition of Kriya Yoga, which is like a Kriya is like a ritual action, and the components of this are called as Svadhyaya, Tapas, and Ishvara Pranidhana. And these three work very well together, um, which is why they are paired together in this verse. Svadhyaya works with tapas as I kind of already mentioned. Like it kind of gives it context. Like why are we giving ourselves challenges? Oh, so that we can study that. And Ishvara Pranidhana is like a surrender to what is. So it's a surrender to a higher power or to the energy within, to spirit, however you like to see that. Svadhyaya really helps you get to that point. One of the verses in the Yoga Sutras, uh, verse 2.44 says, through study comes communion with one's chosen deity. So really it's whatever your chosen deity or whatever your chosen path, whatever you like to see as what is beyond this like physical body, whether it's just energy, spirit, God, however you see that. This practice of self-inquiry, of self-study will help you reach a communion point, which is really the goal of yoga. Yoga means union. So it's like a union between you and the energy that moves you. Self-study is also one of the niyamas, which I have talked a little bit about on this channel before, but I'll kind of go over it. Niyamas are like our spiritual like observances. So these are things that you will do internally to kind of cause a shift or a change on the inside to create like a ripple effect and change your behavior through your own study and your own practice. As you continue doing these internal practices, you'll be able to practice more mindfulness during the day and see where these behaviors are coming in and where you can maybe shift something as it's happening. Um, I know I mentioned earlier in this video about kind of going over it mentally while you're in meditation. But as long as you continually practicing thinking about it or maybe writing about it in your journal, you can really stop yourself in your tracks and be like, I'm going to do this differently. And that, of course, will create a ripple effect throughout the rest of your day and perhaps your life, depending on what choice you made in that moment. Some practical ways you can practice your svadhyaya is maybe journaling each night. If you get everything that happened throughout your day out on paper, then you'll be able to go over it whenever you feel like the time is right. You can go back through your journal and see how much you've changed. Like look at what you wrote down a month ago and see how different you are now from when you were. And then it will inspire you. I, I love it when I get inspired by myself. Like you just look at it and you're like, oh wow, I've shifted so much. This is great. I'm going to keep going. Inspiring yourself is one of the greatest things you can do. So definitely writing about it in your journal, just writing pretty much anything that's gone on, especially if something was challenging, just write down what happened, how you handled it, um, and then of course in your meditation you can go over that and then begin to shift like what would you do if you had a chance to do it again? Because maybe you will, probably not that same exact situation, right? But something similar again might come up and you can just shift the way you react to it. Another great tool for practicing is studying sacred scripts. So a lot of sacred teachings are talking about the mind or about things that could be relevant today. I'm reading the Bhagavad Gita and it's so ancient and it's in the middle of a war. So I'm not in the middle of a war myself. So it's kind of challenging to think, oh wow, how is that going to be relevant? But you'll be surprised when you look at it. Like a lot of the things that go through our mind are the same as they have been. The mind has always been the same similar type of machine. I hope this video has helped you learn something about yourself. Please continue to stay curious, keep studying, learn who you are, and just really practice this study of the self, maintaining this curiosity. Don't give up. It's a lot. And you can do it. We can do it together. So I will see you in the next video. I'll be continuing to talk about more of the Niyamas. I'll be going over Ishvara Pranitana next, and I will see you then. Namaste.